Hey Lucas, so let's do this let's go over I'm just saving. I have to do this. I try to do it every day, but I've been tired, so I'm gonna wait for the weekend and I'm gonna watch all the important moments in tape. So because I retrade them watching, watching the recordings, and I'll do that for all the opens on the weekend and all the important trades. But I'm just gonna do this one, today's open, because we were both watching together, so you can see what I was seeing, and you can get an idea for how I use the tape to trade it. And I'm gonna bring this up again, why I think you could benefit from using a footprint chart. No, let's get to that in a minute. So it says here that it's okay. We're 17 minutes before, sorry, 17 seconds before the open. 9:21. We're at 9:29 and 43 seconds. So let's press play. And we had already talked about the levels, right? And we knew that this was pushing here against the 960s, I think it was, on a higher time frame. It didn't really quite get there, and then we had a support at 900, and then anything below 900 go into the 840s, I think. So bam, we get the open here. Oh, I'm going to pause it here for a second. This is NQ. So this is the ladders, this is the tape, and this is my P&L here. So what I'm doing here is here it was a little bit wild. I wasn't quite ready to put on a trade. And you see how the ladder is like just flying up and down, but it's about the speed on the tape. I'm waiting for the speed of the tape to kind of like lower and stall a little bit, and here is making new lows. And I'm going to pause it here again. I don't know if you've noticed, it's subtle, so maybe you won't notice it right now, but after watching it a few times, maybe you will. Um, this this speed already stalled a little bit. It's still printing a lot, but it's and the speed is consistent, but it's kind of stalled. And now we're testing. We know that 900 is a level, right? So we're testing here the low 900s. Now, why am I not getting in? You see how it came down and touched, even went below, I think a little bit. Um, why am I not buying that? Because I haven't seen what I want to see on the tape yet. So let me press play. We're right. We did come down to the low 900s. We bounced up. But look at the tape. I pay more attention to the speed of the tape than the price. Sometimes I don't even know what price I'm buying at. I'm just buying where I see the burst of speed on the tape combined with something I want to see here. So, damn, that's where we got it. I don't know if you saw it, but we saw it's subtle, but we saw a quick burst of speed on the tape, and we saw price capitulation where it dipped really quick and immediately bounced back up in conjunction with that burst of speed on the tape. That just tells me that's it. And I just hit in, and it's not perfect. I got an entry up here. Ideally, I would have gotten it down here. So, and again, I'm not paying too much attention to where I'm getting in when it comes to price. I'm paying attention to, you know, that event is like it's like I'm trading against that. So let's rewind 2 seconds. So we see that again. So I'm gonna pause it again. You see how the ladder is is like crazy, wild, going up and down, covering a lot of prices, but the tape is at a steady speed and kind of stalled. So that to me means nothing. Every time it comes back comes down and touches down here, it's not a signal for me to enter. Even if prices tell, oh, it came down to the low 900s, that's your level. No, I'm not doing that. I'm trading off of the burst of speed on the tape. So until I see that happen, I'm not getting in. Pressing play. Okay. So look how the tape is kind of stalled. I'm looking at both, but more. paying attention to the speed on the tape, and I'm obviously looking at the latitude, right? And then, bam, we got it there. I entered, bad entry. It goes against me a little bit. It doesn't matter. I'm protected. I'm safe because of that. I'm already taking some off here. And this is something that I need to tweak. These are the things that you kind of need to tweak and they matter, right? So I'm taking off because I'm sort of nervous and I'm still trading kind of scared. I shouldn't be taking off until I see a real pop. And a real pop means the next burst of speed on the tape. And I want to see this pop. And it hasn't popped yet, but I'm taking um, basically um, I may have even taken it most of it off, and I don't think so. Oh no, I still have some on. So I think I took two lots off and I put three lots on. So I think the third lot is the only one that I really let it pop. And this thing ends up popping into the high teens, almost 20. So you see how much PNL I'm leaving there, right? So I shouldn't be doing that. I should be waiting. So I'm taking these off out of caution in case it doesn't pop and it comes back down to protect myself. But if I don't do that, if I take maybe only one lot off, then I could literally double my P&L there. Um, so that's something to think about. But that's not what that's not the I mean, that's the point. Those are things that I focus on, but the point of this one is just so you can see how. So let's pay attention to that entry. Look at the tape stalled. Bam, there we get the burst of speed. We got the price capitulation. Now we're waiting for it to pop. This is not the real pop. And I already took some off. You see how it stalled? Bam, acceleration on the tape. And now the real pop. And you see how this just went flying up. And I took the last lot there. If I had waited, I mean, that's a huge difference because I took off the first two lots. Let's just rewind again. But I think I took off the first two lots and we were not even above 10. We were not even above 910. Let's just hold it's not too much, right? Let's just rewind the whole thing. Um, it was not even above 910. Let's see. We're waiting for entry. Just making new lows. We're not ready yet. There we got it. I'm taking some off and we're at like 905 or 908, something like that, right? And now we get the real pop and look, it flies into the 20s. Fucking 20 points up. So I could have even tripled my P&L. Um, literally tripled my P&L. That trade alone would have hit my would have hit my, my daily base hit, whatever they call it. So, but you see the dynamic there is again, it is stall tape, then a burst of speed that gives me my entry. And then the tape the trade is not resolved until you get the next burst of speed. You need to get a pop, a real pop. Let's watch it again really quick. I mean, I do this. I spend an hour rewatching these things. I hope it's not too much. I'm not. We're not going to do that for an hour, just a few minutes. But yeah, bam, the burst of speed there. And then the tape is kind of stalled, and we're waiting for the release of that tension. And the release happens now. Bam, looking at this is the next burst of speed on the tape, and it flies up, and that's where you take it up. It's like, the bounce. It's like a springy bounce. It's a very visual thing. That's why it's like they say it's like a feel thing. Um, that's why when you told me, like, if you're a gamer, this is probably something that eventually you can do. So, anyways, what am I doing now? I'm waiting again to do the same thing. Comes back down to the 900s, and I'm kind of, sometimes it's very subtle, and sometimes I miss them, and I hesitate, and it does give me the that what I want to see on the tape, but I don't get in, and I miss the little bounce. and then whatever, and then I curse at myself, and then I wait for the next one, and I'm just laser focused on that tape, on the speed of the tape. I want to know vaguely where we are in price. I know that I'm not going to be taking any trades if it's not in the low 900s, obviously, but I'm getting off of, I'll get in off of the speed on the tape. Here I made a mistake. I got in. Let's pause. This is important. This is when I'm not in tune with the tape. Maybe I got anxious. I was impatient, and I didn't wait for the signal. So I got in, and now I'm giving back a third of my P&L, and I'm gonna have to hit out. Um, I think I was waiting until it went up a little bit. Okay, I took it off when it almost a break even, but I got lucky. But so those are the stupid mistakes. Okay, move on. You made a mistake. Waiting for the next one. Right now, it's dancing there in the middle of the range. We know that the bottom of range is in the low 900s. Top of the range, we don't know yet. Maybe in the 30s. But I'm trading off of the bottom. Here we saw it. I don't know if you saw it, but we got that burst of speed again. In this case, 907. I took it off a bit early. I didn't wait for the pop, but then do we really get the pop? Yes, we do. We go back into the 20s, but I didn't wait. Okay. Um, I think because that one was a little bit more subtle. That was more justified that I took it off quickly. But in the end, look, we do end up popping up into the 20s. Okay. Bam, into the 30s. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, this one, I remember this one. So this one, you see how it's kind of popping outside of the range because we have the top of the range of the 20s, but not really because we have this wick up here in the 30s. This pop here, and I think I said this over the phone when we were on the call. This pop here, I took it as a pop outside of the range. This was not a pop outside of the range. This was a pop into this V pop here, into this area of liquidity here. It's not taking out that area. It needs to take out this liquidity area for this. And I knew it. I was saying this on the call, and inside my head, I was like, no, you stupid idiot. You should be fading this thing. So that pop, I should have faded. I should have shorted that pop, and I didn't. Let's go back a couple of seconds so we see it again. Um, so I took it off early, and now, okay, fine, I took it off early. And now, you see this burst of speed when it gets into the 30s? That burst of speed, I should have shorted, and I didn't. Okay, and if I had, would have gotten an entry at like 31 or something like that, and then waiting for the flush. Here's the flush, bang. See it? Now we're 15, 20 cents, 15, 20 points below, and I would have taken it off here. We're seeing some acceleration there at the end. It ends up sliding all the way down to the low 900s. Would have been a great trade. That's something I should not have missed. Now we're back at the bottom of the range, waiting to fade the delta. In this case, we got a little bit there, bam, late entry, bam, got it. This one's a little bit better. I think I took off only one lot really early, and the other lot I'm taking it off here in the mid to high teens. Could have held a little bit more and let it go into the 20s. It's something I need to work on. It makes a huge difference because we're talking literally double the range, and that means double the P&L, right? So these things, little things, really matter. But you see that I'm in a trade only for a matter of seconds. And here's where I stopped trading because I'm already at 736. My base hit is 820 bucks, I think. And I was like, I'm close enough. I'm not going to keep risking it. I should have kept risking because when it drops here below this range, it's going to happen now, I think. No, I should not have kept pressing. I mean, because I already know myself. I usually give back after it drops trades outside of the range. Here it is trading outside of the range. But after a little while, when we realized that it was chopping up and down, but in a range downwards, but chopping up and down, I kind of got a feel for a rhythm where every single little flush here was being like we were getting those pops, and we talked about it. If I had not been so protective of my P&L here, and I had been a little bit more confident, I would have been fading those little flushes because those pops were pretty consistent and were pretty reliable, and that would have brought my piano, way up. So, but that's sort of how I use the tape, at least in these situations when I'm fading delta. And that's why I bring back the thing I said before, which is if you're using a footprint chart, if you can't really see this because it's kind of nuanced and subtle, if it's difficult for you to see, using or I think also in your platform, the tape is not as clear as this one. But in any event, even if you're using this and you can't quite, it takes a little time to get adjust to the nuance. But if you have a footprint chart, the footprint chart will tell you visually, you'll see the dark red. When the tape accelerates, you'll see it because the footprint chart first it prints a number, so you'll see how you'll see the volume um, go through that that 5 second bar or whatever. But you'll also see the dark red um, or the dark blue if there's a lot of a burst of speed and a lot of prints on the bids or prints on the offers. You'll see that on the footprint, and it'll kind of show you, hey, this is what's happening. This is the tape is, so you'll kind of like cross-reference visually, and it'll make you maybe make it easier to catch these you know these areas where it soaks and it finds the bottom, or where it finds sellers at the top. Um, if